already had this glove done a long time ago, you saw it. But now, we also have this one. Both hands are done. I already showed you most of everything you know to finish building these gloves from the plans, but I guess there's a few final things that I can show you in this video to help you put it together more easily. I'm in the final stages of riveting the gloves together. There's not a lot to show you, it's just going to be pounding rivets, but I guess the last things that you need to know in the final steps of putting this together are the sort of problems that you run into and how to get around them. So you can see how this is kind of swoopedy, cut in by the ridges back here. When you put the moving pieces together, if they don't fit right or they don't want to move, you can start grinding away at the back edges, especially the pointed parts, and get some more space. And also, you can put it together like that and look down. Let's see if I can get, like, try to look at an angle like that where you can see in between, just like the gap in between the parts, and you can see where it's rubbing, and that's where you need to grind. So in the wrist area, and also in the whole knuckle area, you can see this in view here. So this it might be kind of tricky to get this part working just right, like it might kind of bind up or whatever, but you can see I've got it set up fine now. You may need to, gotta pull this pin out. As you can see, I tried a couple of different hole locations here, just depending on how your bends turn out, and minor little things that can end up slightly different each time you make it, because it's a handmade thing. You might have to move your hole, like if they're too jammed together tightly, move your hole up on the lower one and just to lift it up a bit. And on this one you can see it's a larger hole. This is the middle piece. So by just making this hole larger, if it's not moving right or if it seems tight, and that will let it kind of slop and move right into position as it gets pressed on by something, and that will let it work more easily. The other end, it ended up, I didn't have to really drill the holes differently, but yeah, so those are the tricks. You can grind away at the back corners to loosen things up, and you can also adjust the holes where the rivets go through. So for this piece in particular, since it's a full circular thing, the very last, I don't remember what part number it is, but you can tell what piece that is. It's the only big one that links all the way around. The pieces that go into it, like, I had to tweak the bend on this, like, it's not perfectly circular, obviously, but I had to tweak each bend so much over and over again, and finally I was able to get it to where it fits nicely. You know, no binding, totally loose, but not really a huge gap. I mean, if you look down like that you can see the gap, but it's not a ridiculous gap. It's fine when you have it all put together. Before you stitch it onto the glove, make sure the whole knuckle assembly is finished. And you've got the piece number 4, the lower piece, riveted together with the fingers. Stitch the wrist section onto the glove. I used a heavy polyester string coated in wax. It's sold as B50 Dacron bowstring, but you can use whatever strong string and a large needle. We're going to use these 2 holes at the front to stitch it to the end of the finger, and then we'll stitch down the side afterward. So be generous, use a lot of string and wrap around through each hole in multiple directions a bunch of times. You don't want that to be a weak connection there. This, I think it's piece number 4, this lower knuckle rivets on the same way as the finger segments. Just drill a couple of holes back here, put rivets through, and the number 3 sits right over the top of that, and the number 2, which is this the big top main piece there, all of them rivet onto these straps, and they articulate with the finger segments. So ideally the leather straps inside your finger segments will have some flap on the side like this, which we can use to stitch the whole finger on, but you can see right along here how I stitched the fingers onto those leather straps. Clamping something to the table like this can make it so that you can rivet pieces like this where you need to be able to reach under.